Welcome to another edition of Five Star Pod Splash. I am your host, Andre Harris. Thank y'all for tuning in. Today, we got another edition of Top 10, and today we are breaking the rules once again as we are doing a Top 20 Cartoon Network countdown. So, just like last time, just due to how many uh, people were on the list, how many shows were on the list, it was just too many to just do a top 10. So decided to do a top 20, especially with how many people voted and how many votes each of the cartoons got. I thought it was only merited that I do a top 20. The anime list was so ridiculous. I had to do a top 25 when I did the anime. Um, Anime still got the highest amount of input, people who put in votes and whatnot, but the cartoon, this is probably like the second highest amount of people. And I didn't even put in as many groups as I did the last one. This time I only got around to putting it in about 6, 7 groups this time around. Shout out to those groups from Anime Memes, obviously Game Haven, which is the hub for top 10, 5 Star Pod Splash. Afro saying, definitely got to give a huge shout out to Afro saying because they always hold me down every time I post a poll up in there. Got to shout out the village hidden in the fire, or the hidden village. I forget, it's like a little tongue twister with that group. So shout out to them. Rare Form Gaming, always got to give them their shout out, man. Angry Fan, which is a battle rap group. I got a little slack this time for posting a cartoon up in a battle rap group, but man, like, we was all kids. We all grew up on cartoons at one time. So even for those people trying to act all super thug and super tough, like, man, it's okay to let your guard down sometimes and just keep it real with yourself and, you know, drop your top 10, man. So that's what we do, man. So, something that we always would do in a lot of the groups. We'd ask new people coming into the groups, drop your top 5, but I expanded with the top 10. But for this episode, we are doing top 20. Before we get into the top 20, we always got 5 honorable mentions. So with that being said, honorable mention number 5 for the best Cartoon Network show goes to Total Drama Action. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm not really too fond, not fond, I'm not too knowledgeable on the show is what I meant to say. So I'm not too really knowledgeable on the show, but this isn't my list per se, that like my top 25 or whatnot. This is the list of a lot of people. There was a lot of votes in these groups. So shout out to everybody in the groups who always make this possible for me to do the show and, get a clear look at, just not my perspective, because I never really agree with these when like the list never matches my list per se. There's only been 1 or 2 times where my favorite ended up the favorite. So and my favorite didn't end up the favorite on this one either. So there's gonna be a lot we need to talk about on here. But coming in at honorable mention number 4, before we get into the top 20, is Totally Spies. And shout out to the group. What I like to see about Totally Spies making the honorable mention is basically the 5 honorable mention is basically the top 25, but they didn't make the top 20 of the show. So these actually beat out a lot of shows that I'm surprised like that did not make the top 20 at all. So like there was about 65 shows, I believe, for the Cartoon Network, and Totally Spies beat out a good half the shows. So like that, I like. It shows that there was a lot of females who were voting. Not to say that there weren't no guys who voted on Totally Spies, but it just shows that there was definitely some female representation on the polls, and I love to see that. So shout out to the ladies, and shout out to even the guys, if there's any guys who voted on Totally Spies. Not knocking you if you do, man. It was a good show. I ain't gonna lie. I've seen Totally Spies, and I thought it was straight. It wouldn't be in my top 10, not even in my top 20, but like I ain't gonna act like it wasn't a good show, or I ain't never catch it. Honorable mention number 3, man. Tom and Jerry Kids, man. So Tom and Jerry Kids. This is a nice little like remix of the classic Tom and Jerry, man. And this was a definite classic growing up, man. Like I'm surprised it made the list just like Totally Spy, in a sense, just for the simple fact that there's some crazy shows that I don't want to reveal because it would kind of give away what's, it kind of eliminate what to suspect. Like, oh, did it make the list already? If I was to spoiler alert, but for Tom and Jerry to beat out a lot of shows that did not make the list at all, man, that's kind of crazy, man. Like, this was a good show though, so I ain't too mad at it, man. Tom and Jerry Kids definitely was straight. This next one, I hated this. I hated this show. Like, I'm mad it even made the honorable mention. Like, this show, I don't see how it got the amount of votes. Because, like, to even keep in mind, like, the honorable mentions got a nice set of votes. Like, dang, do I have the number totals for the honorable mention? Okay, honorable mention number 5 have 45. Next one have 46. Honorable mention number 3, Tom and Jerry Kids, have 47. Honorable mention number 2 had 50. See, the fact that this even had 50 votes, honorable mention number 5, which I love, like the fact that there's that many votes and we're not even on the top 20. So salute to everybody in these groups, especially like I'm just going to definitely give props to anime memes. Y'all been holding it down, and Afro saying y'all always go ham on the vote poll. Game Haven definitely holds it down and held it down for the longest, so definitely salute to Game Haven. Rare Form Gaming as well, FAD. Everywhere that I post out, pretty much. The Village, they've been holding it down too as of late, so shout out to them. Coming in at number 2, honorable mention is Cow and Chicken. I freaking hate Cow and Chicken, man. Like, as an artist, like, I've always been an artist growing up, and when I see Cow and Chicken, just make me think, like, and as an artist, like, I'm so like a harsh critique of my art to the point like where I can't even really like draw no more, for the simple fact that like I could always draw, but like I just don't like to because I'm so overcritical of my artwork. And then I see someone who just like puts this out and like this would have never this would have been erased from my piece of paper, from my sketchbook. If I ever drew something that looked like that, I'd have just sketched it. Like, so it was not my cup of tea, just per se, for those reasons. Me being an artist, like I was never really into like the lazy art styles like this, but especially when I got anime to watch that like just puts so much detail and skill into their art. To see something like this, I hated Cow and Chicken when they did that whole big thing with the Cartoon Network back in the day where they dropped all this. This was definitely like one of my least favorites out of the bunch. Definitely my least favorite out the bunch. Honorable mention number 1. Yo, this is so disrespectful that this only got 50 votes and came in, considering that this went in 6 different groups. I'm looking at the groups that did the post. Or is there something on the side? Yeah, 6 different groups. The fact that this went in 6 groups and only got 50 votes. And I was just talking to someone about Star Wars, and I'm talking about how great The Mandalorian is, and they're like, you know what's better than that? You need to see Star Wars The Clone Wars. And I'm like, really, bro? Because I don't know, Mandalorian is super fire, but Star Wars The Clone Wars didn't even make top 20, bro. Like, I ain't gonna front, man. Like, I've digested so much anime. I've been taking so much anime pause that this is one of those shows I never got around to. And like, I've watched all the Star Wars movies. I am a Star Wars fan, like, but I just never got into the Clone Wars. Like, for whatever reason, I never gave that a look. But even without giving it a look, I've known so many people who have watched it and vouched for it and gave such a high praise for it, that for it to not make the list, even without me seeing it, I know that this is an injustice. But the people have spoken, and they've kept Star Wars The Clone Wars off the top 20 official list. So let's get into the top 20 official list. This next cartoon making the top 20 over Star Wars The Clone Wars is an injustice, I think, in itself. But the people have spoken, and they have said that Chowder is better than Star Wars The Clone Wars. Chowder coming in at number 20 on the top 20 Cartoon Network cartoon shows. Man, y'all are wildin', man. These groups is crazy, man. Anime memes, Game Haven, Afro Saiyan, Angry Fan, Hidden Village, and a Cartoon Network group. That's the name of the group, the Cartoon Network group. And so for all 6 of those groups to pit Chowder over Star Wars The Clone Wars, I think that's a big injustice in my opinion, but I disagree with a lot of things on this list. Going on, my niece loves this show. This is her shit right here, and that is Steven Universe coming in at number 19 on the list. I'm familiar with Steven Universe, but I haven't really like watched it. There's a lot of shows on here just because I'm an older person. I never really got into Steven Universe per se, but I'm a little familiar with it, and I'm familiar with it, and I do like the style. Like I've seen a little clips here and there and everything just from my niece, and I remember when I went to the San Diego Comic Con, I actually picked her up I picked her and my boy Moose up a limited edition, like it was like an art book from like this art studio or whatever. I'm not too big on Steven Universe, so I wasn't quite too sure what it was, but my homeboy Moosey in Detroit, he told me like to pick him up one, and he like wired me the money. So I picked him up one, and I knew my niece loved it, so I picked her up one too. But I saw that art book, and I saw like into it. It was pretty extensive. They had some. It wasn't just art. Like they had like, a lot of like the process and the pipeline of creating what goes into creating their studio and everything, and the animation. And big ups to Steven Universe. Without even being someone who's watched all of it, I am somewhat a fan of it, if that makes any sense. Coming in at number 18 on the list is Young Justice. Now, here we go, something I'm a little more familiar with. I'm always about that comic book, Marvel, DC action. Young Justice making this list, that's a nice thing, man. Man, I rock with Young Justice, but I wasn't too sure just because of the groups that I didn't post this in a comic book central group. None of the groups that I posted this in was a comic book group at all. So I didn't expect the comic book cartoons to really like even make the list to a certain extent, or even place to where they placed over certain cartoons at certain times. So I'm glad that Young Justice definitely did get its due, making the list. So shout out to Young Justice coming in at number 18 on the list. Coming in number 17 on the list is Ben 10, and Ben 10 just beat out Young Justice by 1 vote. Otherwise, it would have been tied. So shout out to Ben 10, and shout out to everybody who votes in these groups when I post these polls up, man. I cannot stress enough. I cannot say it enough. Shout out to y'all. Y'all the ones who really make this interesting, because it's a lot more interesting, I feel like, when I get like input from everybody instead of me just posting my own personal top 10, because I know like that's just so shallow to just like to if I was just doing my own personal top 10, I might as well just keep it to yourself, because like your opinion alone is just so one-sided, so like I think this is just a little bit more fair, even if I do disagree at times with like where certain things rank or whatnot. So shout out to everybody who does vote on these polls when I put them in the groups. Coming in at number 16, we got Jackie Chan Adventures. Man, I did not think Jackie Chan Adventures would even make the list when it did come. It was one of the last ones when I was like putting on like I said, there was like about 60 or 65 Cartoon Network shows that were on the initial polls, and Jackie Chan was like one of the last ones. It was like low on the poll, so there might have been a lot of people who probably didn't even scroll down the whole poll who already picked their top 10 and didn't even get to Jackie Chan. So I wasn't expecting it to even make the top 20, but it did. So that just goes to show a lot of people were taking the time to scroll down those polls and to put the numbers up for Jackie. Man, this is definitely a dope cartoon. Jackie Chan, just an OG legend overall, man. So dope to see Jackie Chan Adventures at number 16. Coming in at number 15 on the list, that is The Amazing World of Gumball. I've seen it, but I haven't like watched a full episode of it. Like I'd seen like browsing through channels or whatever. Sometimes I'd be too lazy to turn or something and see a couple minutes or whatnot. Not super familiar, but I've seen it, so I'm like, I'm somewhat, I've seen it, but I'm not too familiar with it, if that makes any sense. But I'm pretty sure like my nieces and like Like my younger family, even my nephews and everything. Like I'm pretty sure that they're pretty fond of the show as well, man. The Amazing World of Gumball. That's what the people have spoken. You guys said that this is better than a lot of shows that were. Man, come on now. Look, coming in number 14 on the list, we got Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and I've seen this one a few times. I've seen like a few episodes of the Foster's Imaginary Twins. It ain't something like I like, oh, I gotta watch this, or you know what I'm saying? But there've been a few times where, again, just being probably like lazy or probably just, you know, where you just end up watching an episode of it. It's a pretty funny episode, not episodes, pretty funny show overall. Like I'm not familiar enough to where I could just name off the name of the characters right here in the thing, but I have seen them and they are funny at times. You know, the little blue dude, especially in my opinion, man. Like, but coming in at number 13 on the list, we got the regular show. The regular show, man. I could just like again, like man, I'm so like being an artist, like dang, like, and this one I'm like not too super like high on like American animation because I just feel like dang, we just like so lazy with our art style at times, you know. But I'm pretty sure it's super funny and edgy and whatnot. But this is another one of them shows I'm not too familiar with. I'm like old school cartoon, I'm not even gonna lie. So this is one of the ones that just came from the people. It wasn't like it wouldn't have been in my top 10. I wouldn't be too familiar with it. Coming in at number 12, Kids Next Door. Now I'm not even somewhat, I'm familiar with Kids Next Door, man. Kids Next Door is fire. So I definitely rock with Kids Next Door, man. If I had a top 20, I think this would be about where they would be positioned at. Because they're not they're not my day ones, but they are they're definitely fire for their generation. They're definitely at the forefront of like that new wave that wasn't my wave, like maybe like my little brother and little sister's wave. Like they was at the forefront of that. Like I'll give them that. You know what I'm saying? Coming in at number 11, talking about my wave, we got Johnny Bravo, baby. So coming in at number 11, Johnny Bravo, man. What I love about Johnny Bravo is one of those cartoons. We will never get another Johnny Bravo. A Johnny Bravo would never pass in today's climate, in today's society. I'm surprised they ain't already go after Johnny Bravo and try to cancel Johnny Bravo on some fake outrage. Because man, Johnny Bravo was just, man, he was Pepe Le Pew. He was Pepe Le Pew in human form, man. He was on him, man. Johnny Bravo, man. He crack at any female that he's seeing on sight, man. He did not care, bro. Like Johnny Bravo was like about that action. So man, Johnny Bravo just falling short by 2 votes of the top 10. I'm surprised this only 2 votes. But if Johnny Bravo would have had 3 more votes, he would have knocked number 10 out of the 10th spot. And when I show you number 10, I'm surprised that this is number 10. This is an injustice that this is not higher on the list. Y'all are wilding in these groups, man. I need to post this in double the amount of groups to get a higher count rate for this one, because this wasn't the numbers that the anime polls did. The anime polls did like hundreds, but this one, like they did around 200, like the higher ups. But Johnny Bravo was at, let me see here, number 11. Johnny Bravo, 72. 72. So, man, by 2 votes, man, coming in with 74 votes at number 10. Adventure Time, man. Adventure Time, man. Adventure Time. There was a time Adventure Time had to carry the Cartoon Network on their back, bruh. Adventure Time literally put Cartoon Network on their back, bruh. On their back. I don't know how this is not higher up on the list, bro. Like when I was in college doing my animation college, bruh, Adventure Time was that was the thing, bro. Like Adventure Time was fire, bro. Like I don't know how Adventure Time ain't higher up on the list. And for and that's coming from someone, like I said, being an artist, someone who like was in animation, all that stuff. Like I was super like critical of like this type of art style. But man, this was one of those ones I was just like, all right, I don't care. Like this is different. Coming in at number 9, I was shocked this beat out Adventure Time. Even though I'm somewhat happy just being a comic book person, I'm surprised that this beat out Adventure Time on these polls. Again, not posting this in any comic eccentric groups either. Justice League Unlimited coming in at number 9, bro. Like for me personally, this this in Adventure Time, man. Like I would probably put, just because I'm so comic book heavy, I would probably have this above Adventure Time. But overall, when I think like the general consent, when I think outside of just my general opinion, I would not think that the overall consent would be that Adventure Justice League would be ranked higher than Adventure Time. I just would not. But I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it because man, I am all for it because I'm a comic book guru, man. I'm a comic book. That's what I want to. That's why I went to college, because I grew up drawing comic books and collecting and reading comic books and comic cards and anime and all that. Like before it was a thing to do. Like freaking. So man, I'm super cool with it. But man, I'm surprised at that's an upset to me, man. Coming in at number 8 on the list. This would definitely be, I don't know. This is another one of my favorites right here, man, and that is the Powerpuff Girls. I ain't gonna front, bro. I don't care. Yeah, I said it. The Powerpuff Girls is like one of my favorites, man. Powerpuff Girls. It might be one of my top 5. If it ain't my top 5, it's like just outside of it. Definitely deserves to be in that top 10, man. When Cartoon Network had that, it was like, man, it was like a huge like resurgence of like new animators, and they just dropped all this stuff all at the same time. And I remember they did that episode, and it was Butters. Butters gets her little ponytail turned into the chicken wing, and then she snaps on Fuzzy Lumpkins. Yo, Powerpuff Girls, Mojo, JoJo breaking into the jail just to run the fade. Like, bro, man, Powerpuff Girls was fire, bro. Like, classic, man. Like, I love the Powerpuff Girls, man. I would have it a little higher on my list personally because, man, I rock with the Powerpuff Girls heavy. This is definitely a top 10. I'm glad I at least recognized as a top 10 because that it is. Coming in at number 7, I didn't vote for this one because I'm not familiar with this one. I wasn't familiar with watching this on the Cartoon Network, but maybe it was on the Cartoon. This was one of those ones that when it was on the poll, I was a little conflicted if I should put it on the poll, but I did some research and apparently it was on the Cartoon Network. Being that it was on the polls, I'm surprised it ain't number 1, bruh. Being that this was on the polls, I'm surprised this ain't number 1, and I'm talking about Pokemon. Are you kidding me? Pokemon was on a cartoon poll and wasn't number 1, bro. Like, what generation are you from, bro? Because Pokemon had things on lock for a minute, bro. It still got things on lock, bro. What other cartoon on this list doing what Pokemon do, man? Pokemon had the handheld consoles on lock. Then they start off with the handheld, bro, because like anyone can have the console on lock, but they started with the handheld. They made you want to play handheld, man. There's a lot. They dominate handheld. Then they do their thing on the console. They do their numbers on console. Then they got an anime show. They got movie theater doing numbers in the movie theaters. Man, they got the Pokemon Go. Like, man, the cosplay, they be out in full, man. Like, how did Pokemon only get 7, bruh? And it's on the list. Now, granted, like I said, maybe that's something a lot of other people took into consideration because, again, I didn't vote for it personally either. But Pokemon was on the list and it only got number 7 votes overall in all these groups. That's crazy. That's crazy. This next one I didn't vote for either, but I'm surprised to be Pokemon, and that is the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Now, I have seen the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and I would probably have it in like my top 20, but it will be like that low, like 15 to 20. It will be around there. You know what I'm saying? Maybe even honorable mention. I don't know. maybe even honorable mention, because there's some of my shows that didn't even make the list, and y'all bugging, man. Y'all bugging for that. But this next one is such an injustice. This next show should be top 3, bro. I'm mad, bro. Especially when I'm like, even though I like 4 and 3, like they are not better than 5, bro. Like what all right, I'm gonna show you 5, but when I show you 4 and 3, they straight, they classic in their own right, but bro, they are not better than what got voted number 5, bro. Number 5 should be top 3. Number 5, you could argue for number 1, if not number 2, bro. If not number 2, even. Number 5, coming at number 5, we got Samurai Jack. Y'all are so disrespectful in these groups, bro. Y'all better put some respect on Samurai Jack's name, man. Y'all did Samurai Jack so dirty. Samurai Jack deserved better than number 5 on the Cartoon Network. On the Cartoon Network shows. Samurai Jack, y'all only put him number 5. It's funny because when I went and I saw like a couple other people's like list on like, you know, when I was like going to like research like titles just in case I forgot any cartoons to add them to the list, and a few of those Samurai Jack was number 1. But according to the people, only number 5. Coming in at number 4 on the list, we got Courage the Cowardly Dog. Man, shout out to Courage, man. I rock with Courage. He would definitely be on my top 20. Maybe make top 10. If so, be like very low on that top 10. But to beat out Samurai Jack, nah, man. Nah. Y'all wildin', man. Y'all really disrespected my boy Jack like that. That was uncalled for. It was uncalled for. Y'all really disrespected Samurai Jack, putting Courage above that, man. Courage was definitely fire though, bro. And Courage is funny. Courage is about that life, bro. Man, we've had polls where like they comparing Courage and Scooby-Doo, and people be riding for Courage. I ain't even gonna lie. Courage is about that action. But better than Samurai Jack, I don't know about that one, man. I don't know all about that. But what I will say is I do like Samurai Jack and Courage better than I like what came in at number 3. Even though it is straight, I just feel like, dang, man, I didn't realize how popular this show was, man. But Ed, and Eddie came in at number 3 on the top 20 Cartoon Network list. Forgot, normally it's top 10, but today it's top 20, so we could get give a lot of shows their flowers. Ed, and Eddie coming in at number 3 on the list, man. Like I rocked with Ed, and Eddie, but again with that art style, just one of the things I really just couldn't sink into it like I sink into a lot of anime. But Ed, and Eddie definitely was hilarious. Definitely hilarious, but man, I just hate that art style, man. Like I was never too hot on it. There'd be times I watch it, but like it was not in my favorite show. If I had my own personal top 10 or top 20, it wouldn't make top 10 for sure. I'd be surprised. I ain't gonna say surprised, but it would probably make like my low 20s. It'd be like 20 through 15, maybe 15, 14. Like we'll go no further than there's not gonna be. Yeah, it's not gonna be ranked that high. I don't even know if it will make my top 20, to be honest. Coming in at number 2 on the list. This personally is my number 1 show. But you know what I'm saying? This is what always happens on my show when I put these polls up. I put these polls up hoping that y'all agree with me and have my favorite show as the number 1 show, but it never happens, bruh. I don't know how many of these shows now. It's only happened 2 times, and I did at least 10, if not more, of these shows. I probably did about 15 of these shows now, and we've only agreed 2 times, and we failed to agree once more because my favorite show, at least it got number 2. At least y'all gave it that much, because usually y'all be having my favorite show like number 7, number 10. Sometimes it don't even make the top 10. I'd be like, wow, y'all really disrespect my favorite show like that. But coming in number 2, Dexter's Laboratory. Again, this to me is the number 1 Cartoon Network show, bro. It gave you everything, bro. Everybody on this show is fire, bro. Dexter is the shit, man. Dee Dee is the shit. The mom and the dad, the mom and the dad, fire, bro. Yo, Dial M for Monkey, man, the Justice Friends, or man, I forgot the name, bro, with the fake Thor, Hulk, and Captain America, bro. Like everything on Dexter's Laboratory is just perfect, bro. Like this was that show, bro. Like the premise, everything, bro. Like the side shows with the other two shows I just mentioned, everything about this show was fire. The Arrival, everything, bro. Yo, Dexter was that. Dexter was that show, bro. Dexter was that show, man. So like, man, we gotta come here. I like Cartoon Network show. Bring back my childhood memory. By the way, can you show your full design T-shirt with standing in full screen? I don't like the standing full screen. Yeah, it'll kill me, man. Look, I don't know if I could pull it back because I'm a little scrunched in, but look, man, there we go. That's it. That's all that's on it. You know, just Chicago Bulls. You know, keeping it simple, keeping it simple, pimping. You know, coming in. But much love to you, Upsets Ben Sinum. I must be one of my international viewers, man. Salute to y'all for tuning in. Coming in at number one. Like this will definitely be in my top 10, definitely top five. Again, Dexter's Laboratory is my personal favorite. I'm glad it at least got second place because that was my show right there. Number one overall. This is one of my shows too, man. Especially being an artist, and this was like the type of style art I was like doing when I was doing animation back in college and everything, is, drum roll please, Teen Titans, man. Like I'm again not posting this in any comic book group or anything like that. I didn't realize how popular this was. I didn't realize how popular the Justice League Unlimited was. Like I thought it was just popular to me and like my niche community. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't expect it to be like that popular. I don't know if it was due to the movies, you know, because nowadays comic books are more like commercial and mainstream. But man, Teen Titans. That I was surprised Teen Titans Go did not make even the top 25 with the honorable mentions. It didn't even make the honorable mention, which is basically the top 25. Like Space Ghost Coast to Coast didn't make the list. That was my show right there. The original Space Ghost, Johnny Quest, Harvey Birdman at Law, the original Birdman. Like there were so many dope shows that didn't even make the top 25 list. So man, salute to everybody. And that was a lot of people. Like the top 25 have at the lowest was 50 votes. So to even get 50 votes, that was 50 people who put in that input on just that. So those people put on many votes on the other stuff that didn't even make the list at all. I greatly appreciate y'all for taking the time to scroll down those polls. I know they'd be long because there'd be a lot to choose from. Just want to make sure we get an accurate representation and nothing's forgotten. Because when I try to just put a couple, then people want to add a bunch. So it's like, all right, forget it. Let's just make a long list. Go down the list, pick your top 10. If there's something not on the list, add it to the list, and then I'll add it to the other group's list, and then I'll tally up all the results, and then I give you all the results in these episodes. So salute again to everybody in all the groups, from Game Haven, Rare Form Gaming, Fades in Anime, Afro Saiyan, The Hidden Village Under Fire, Anime Memes, the Cartoon Network, you know, all the different groups that I post these in, from Angry Fan to Unbiased, like everywhere that I post these groups at. I post in so many groups. I'm forgetting a lot right now. Anime Society. It don't matter. Like I just want to say again, salute to y'all for voting on the polls, and salute to everybody who goes and watches back the videos. Even if you didn't vote on the poll, thank you for watching the video when I do post the videos. And make sure y'all take the time, if you do have a quick minute, go and search on Facebook The Whole Effing Show. Hit that follow and like. Help me grow that channel. That's where you can go back and you can watch the previous episodes of Top 10. And this episode will be loaded onto there after I edit out that first part at the very beginning, where I just take the time to post it in the other groups. I do see we have one more comment before I get off of the show. In the States, I like these childhood shows. Man, we all were kids at one time. Some of us, I mean, me being an artist, like I never grew up out of it, man. Like I'm still a kid at heart, man. I'm still an artist to this day at heart. I might not draw as much as I used to, but it's always ingrained in me. I'm still going to that comic book shop. That's what I am doing. I'm still reading them comic books. I'm still tuning in, watching that anime. At times, watching a couple of these shows, you know. So, salute to everybody who tunes in, watches this stuff. Next episode, I'm probably gonna do a comic book centered one. I'm thinking about doing the top 10 X-Men shirt, X-Men shirt, the top 10 X-Men members. Might make it into a top 20. Depends on how many votes get put into the polls. Man, y'all really asking me for the shirt, so yeah, I mean, that's it. You know what I'm saying? There we go. Bringing in for you 6-time champions. You know what I'm saying? That Michael Jordan. But they're killing me with the asking me for the shirt. Like, okay, sure. Standing in full screen. Man, this is someone else asking the same thing. They're asking to see the full T-shirt. So before I get up off here, I mean, that's pretty much the whole design right there. I mean, design shoot right now with. No, let me do something better for you. Watch out. I got mine at the mall, but I'm pretty sure you could find it on eBay. Let's see here, Chicago. Let me see if I can find the one for you. I can't find it right now. I was trying to help you. I was trying to help you, but I couldn't find it. All right, man. Well, thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Top 10. Today, obviously, we broke the rules, made it into a top 20 to make sure everybody, all these cartoons got their just due. Because if it was just top 10, there would have been a lot that got left off. I mean, there's still a lot that got left off, but yeah. So salute again, man. Next time it'll probably be like the top Nickelodeon shows when I do get back to cartoons, but the next episode will probably be like the top X-Men because I just feel like it. I saw people hating on my boy Wolverine, you know, on a post one time saying like, "Tell me who your favorite X-Men is, and I'll tell you who you are," basically. And Wolverine's my dude, so like now I'm interested. Like, hold up, I thought the general consensus was Wolverine was that dude. You know what I'm saying? And coming from that comic book world for the longest, like to the real fan base, Wolverine was that dude. But not to say like people like that was just the locked in like everybody like Wolverine, but like Wolverine was that dude. Wizard comic book, the Wizard magazines would always do a top 10 back in the day, dropping the top 10. And the main three that would always like go in and out of that top spot would be Wolverine, Batman, and Spawn for the longest. And then you have Spider-Man come up in there from time to time. Yeah, other people make entry at time to time, but the main three people is Batman, Wolverine, and Spawn. So like for the comic book audience, so now this like other audience, you know what I'm saying, like the casuals who just like start to jump on from the movies or whatever, came on super late or whatnot, like y'all might have a different opinion. So I'm kind of curious to see how it go now. I want to see how wrong y'all get it, because I grew up with X-Men since 1991, 92. So like bruh, like you can't tell me about X-Men. I don't care who you are, you cannot tell me about X-Men, bro. Like, but I'm curious to see now how far off the polls are going to have the list compared to my list. When I do that list, I'm going to break down my personal list and their list at the same time, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of disagreement on that. So next episode probably be top 10 X-Men, and after that I'll probably spin back around to I don't know what'll probably be the next one. X-Men will definitely be the next one. I'll probably do a wrestling one after that, because I haven't done no wrestling yet. So I'll probably do a wrestling. I'm definitely thinking about doing some music. So I'm probably going to start to like do like hip hop albums by the year, like best hip hop album for 1994, and then go forward or whatever, and go forward. But shout out to everybody for tuning in, man. I appreciate y'all a lot, man. Make sure y'all go like, follow, subscribe the whole effing show on Facebook. my Facebook gaming channel that you can go check out previous episodes of that, my gaming as well. You know what I'm saying? But appreciate y'all dearly. If y'all wanted to make a donation, you know what I'm saying, to my channel, y'all could do that by Cash App at Fade of Mania. Let me put it up for y'all one last time before I get up off of here. The Fade of Mania, that's FADEAMANIA. Don't need the money. I do work a 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? I work, make my own money. I ain't begging for nothing. But if you guys do appreciate the time I put into this, I definitely put a lot of time into this, from posting these long polls and all these different groups, and then having to do math. I suck at math, but for y'all, I do the math. So you know what I'm saying? If y'all appreciate the time and effort, man, y'all can make a donation. But if not, man, just viewing the content, hitting that like and follow on the page, that's good enough for me, man. But if you do want to make a donation, I greatly appreciate that too. So thank y'all for tuning to another episode of 5 Star Pod Splash. Look out for those polls. Let's make sure we get them right. Get your votes in. Again, you can vote for 10. So when you see that poll, don't just vote for one thing. Y'all can vote for up to 10, your personal top 10. And then we will tally up the votes from several to 10, 20 different groups, get those numbers up, and then determine what is what. So thank y'all once again for tuning in to 5 Star Pod Splash. I'm your host, Andre Harris. We are out of here. Peace.